Hey, what's going on, fam? So this is another video. So as you guys know, I made a video about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago about the Byron Allen case. And the reason why I made the video about the Byron Allen case was because of Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore, the founders of the DOAS movement. I wanted to make a video about Byron Allen. I've made several videos, but the reason why I made my most recent one, along with every other video I've made about Byron Allen, is because I've started to look at DOAS suspect. I started to look at them with a suspect eye because of what happened with the fallout between the DOAS movement and the FBA movement, which I know Tariq Nasheed says it's not a movement, but y'all get what I'm saying. Once that started to happen, and once they started to push the Democratic Down Ballot strategy, not only did I have questions about that, and I had questions about that even before everything really started to pop off for real. So, because as you guys know, or if you don't know, Yvette was pushing the Democratic Down Ballot strategy before she fell out. Yvette and Tone were pushing the Democratic Down Ballot strategy before they fell out with Tariq Nasheed. I kind of held my tongue, even though I had a huge problem immediately, and I was kind of planning on making a video regardless about my disagreement with the Democratic Down Ballot strategy, and that was even if Yvette Carnell and Tariq Nasheed had stayed united, and Antonio Moore. If they had all stayed united, I still probably would have made a video about the Democratic Down Ballot strategy because I had a problem with it immediately. As soon as I heard her first propose that on a YouTube video, I had a problem with it immediately. And once I started to look at that Democratic Down Ballot strategy and how it was a complete deviation from everything we had been talking about up until that point, I started to question everything that these people were promoting that wasn't about a black agenda, that wasn't strictly and specifically about advocating for a black agenda and nothing else. And one of the things that I started to question was this push for Byron Allen. And I started to make videos about it, along with my videos about the Democratic Down Ballot situation. And so when I made my most recent video about the Byron Allen situation, and because I'm making it in response to the narrative that's being given by Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore, and an inspection of their narrative, I had to do research to see what they were saying about the results of the Byron Allen case, because I already knew what they were saying leading up to the Byron Allen case, but I didn't know what they had said yet in response, because I stopped watching them. I can't watch them anymore because it's just unbearable. It's so inaccurate, it's so foolish, it's so silly, the things that they say. I can't bear to listen to their videos more than 5 or 10 minutes. So I haven't watched them in months, except for when I had to do research for the Byron Allen case. And as I was doing research for the Byron Allen case, I was listening to an Yvette Carnell video about the results of the Byron Allen case, and I had to listen to her go back into justifying the Democratic Down Ballot strategy. And as I had to listen to her do that, it just reminded me of how dangerous this strategy is. And I figured, you know what? It's been a while since I've made a Democratic Down Ballot video, so I'm going to make one last one. Now, I promise you, fam, this is going to be the last, because I hate that I keep doing videos over and over about the same subject. But every time I make a video, somebody tries to make a new point, so I address that point, or they make a new excuse for why we should do the Democratic Down Ballot strategy after I dismantle one excuse. The A-Dunce followers will make another excuse, or Yvette Carnell herself would make another excuse for why we should follow the Democratic suicide down ballot strategy, which is what I call it because it's political suicide. So it's suicide down ballot. And when I heard her rambling and ranting about Democratic down ballot again, I just like, look, man, I got to make one more video exposing this one more time, because she goes on about how the stimulus bill and the coronavirus, how that's an excuse to vote for the Democrats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some clips. First, I'm going to play an Yvette Carnell clip from the Byron Allen video where she's talking about the where she's talking about the suicide down ballot stuff. Then I'm going to respond. Then I'm going to play several more clips. I'm going to play a clip from Yvette Carnell again, and then I'm going to play several clips from white independent media outlets exposing the Democratic, or not even the Democratic down ballot, because they're not talking about that at all, but just exposing the Democratic Party, period. And these are white people. These are not black people that are exposing the Democratic Party. These are white people, white independent media. Because part of the problem is, as I said, Yvette Carnell does not understand white supremacy. Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore do not understand white supremacy. And part of what shows that they do not understand white supremacy is the fact that they listen to corporate media. They listen to CNN, they listen to MSNBC, they listen to these Democratic shill media outlets that always paint the picture that the Democrats are the good guys and the Republicans are the bad guys. And if Yvette Carnell understood white supremacy, she would understand that she should not go to CNN and MSNBC for news on what's going on in politics. You have to go to independent media, non-corporate media, because they will tell you the truth. Now, independent media, white independent media, still is not advocating for a black agenda. So I'm not ever saying that black people should go listen to them to understand how to do politics for a black agenda. But what I am saying is that black people should go listen to them to understand just what's going on in politics in general and understand the truth and not some good guy, bad guy, CNN and MSNBC narrative. And if Yvette Carnell understood that, she would not be looking to white media, and I'm saying white corporate media sources, for her information. Because she's using white corporate media sources telling her that the Democrats were the good guys and the Republicans were the bad guys as justification for why we should vote Democratic down ballot. She's using, see the Democrat, see the Republican, and it's her annoying ass voice. See the Republicans, they wanted a evil bill that was going to give money to the corporations, and if it wasn't for the Democrats, we would have nothing, which is a lie. It's a lie. The Democrats are in cahoots with the Republicans. We don't have two parties. We have two sides of the same coin. And white independent media will tell you this. Now, they don't tell you this in the context of a black agenda and black politics, but even white people, white working class people will tell you, and white independent media will tell you, that the Democrats and the Republicans, they're no different. We just have one big corporate party with one side that plays the good cop and one side that plays the bad cop, but they're all on the same side. Just like the good cop and the bad cop work for the same police department, the Democrats and the Republicans work for the same corporate donors. So even in the interest of white working class people, the Democrats are useless. And white independent media will tell you this. And this is not Republican white independent media. This is Democratic-leaning, progressive independent media. So I'm not giving you news sources from Trump supporters. I'm giving you Democratic-leaning, left-wing, independent media sources telling you that the Democrats are corrupt and that they're useless. So what I'm going to do, fam, is I'm going to play a clip from Yvette Carnell. And the clip from Yvette Carnell is a audio clip because her videos are too long. So the videos editing software I have couldn't pull a clip off of her video because it was too long. So Yvette Carnell's clips are going to be audio. The clips from the white independent media are going to be video. But without further ado, let's go ahead and play the first clip I want to play from Yvette Carnell.
And just in case you wonder what's going on with the corona, here's the spike. Look at how the United States right there near the bottom with that orange line, just once we started testing, just took off, just started sprouting towards the front. Look at that. Now understand. Now I understand. There's an economy, but I also understand Trump is already talking about putting people back to work. Hell, people ain't even got paid yet. Why they off of work? You want to put them all back? You well, we gonna have to. We only go. Now I've seen the scientists say. I saw a scientist today say we need at least 5 weeks. 5 weeks of at least 5 weeks of quarantine. Obviously nobody cares because this is the economy. You know, it's just the economy. I understand the economy, but I don't know. Here's what McConnell did. Emerged on Sunday evening with a bill that would provide a lot of help for corporate executives and shareholders and not nearly enough for American workers. It would let the Treasury hand out billions of dollars to corporations, potentially including businesses owned by President Trump, without requiring binding commitment to preserve jobs and wages. And the bailouts could remain secret for 6 months. Now I want to show that to everybody who said, let's just vote Republican, Yvette. Where's the little boomer Negro who came in last week? Well, Yvette, you just don't know how to do power. Do you know how to do immune system? Any of us can get sick at any time. You can't have this. People are out of work. The unemployment offices ain't even, they might as well be shut down. They ain't even taking calls in these places. Apply online. Go on, they're gonna run off. They can't even deal with the demand. Now see, some people who don't have an ear for nuance, like, see, I told you Yvette was capable for Democrats. I'm telling you that you have to hold one party accountable, and in this moment, it's good that they were able to push back against something that would allow these companies to get a windfall of money, and not secure your job and your wage. But see, the people who are telling you that doesn't matter are people who don't work jobs and wages anyway. You have to wonder about people. Like, I wouldn't tell you that. I just look at it. But there are a lot of people who are not me who will tell you that, and you look at what they do. Wait a minute, they don't worry about that. They ain't got no worries. But they're telling you, well, no vote. You're not gonna vote for nothing. Well, you got money. No tangible, no vote. Well, you got money. You know, and you got marble tables. It's easy to say that. But if you go to a job and you need politicians to behave in a certain manner, you need to hold them accountable, and you do that through a vote. Now, what you can do is what we say, Democratic Down Ballot, leaving that top blank. And some people say, I'm leaving the Senate blank too because my senator is blah, 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 blah. Yvette, I'm leaving the Congress blank because my congressperson is blah, 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 blah. I get that. But to just not show up and not do, so you're not even going to vote for a state lawmaker or assembly person, or you're not going to vote for an initiative, you're not going to vote for nothing. That's abdicating the whole process. You're not going to show up for anything. Nah, you just lazy. Like, just tell me you just lazy. You don't want to read, you don't want to move. It's easy for you to talk loud and thump your chest. But this ain't the moment for that. This is not the time to be lazy. This is the time to be active and smart. And we're being led by a bunch of dullers, dunces, loud and wrong and don't know anything and haven't read an article or a book in the last 5 or 10 years. Just opining. Well, I tell you what it is. I tell you what. Shut. No, we gotta. I don't know how we get past that, but we gotta get past that. We have to get past that. And before I go, before I go to the college today, I wanted to bring this up.
So, fam, y'all just heard that logic. Y'all just heard that suicide logic about, oh, the Republicans don't even care about working class white people, let alone us. Neither do the Democrats. The Democrats don't care about working class white people, let alone us. You see, Yvette Carnell does a lot of arrogant talking about how other people don't read and how other people don't understand politics and don't do politics, because the only way she understands politics is by voting. She don't understand no other way of politics. She thinks that's the only way to conduct politics is by voting. That's it. End of story. That's not the only thing of politics. You have to, there's other things. As a matter of fact, the majority of politics happens before you vote. You have to make a stand. You have to make your needs and demands known. And you have to issue a threat. You have to leverage power. If you're telling Democrats that you are going to vote for them without any assurances, they're going to continue to screw you over. White independent media sources are telling people, white people, this now. Because a lot of white people don't get that they shouldn't be voting for Democrats, especially. So white left-wing media sources are telling white people that you have to hold the party accountable and leverage your vote. Otherwise, they will continue to run over you. That is the debate that is happening among the progressive left as we speak. But that's a white people debate. Black people, it shouldn't be a debate for us. We don't have the time or the luxury to continue to vote for Democrats blindly. So she's telling you this nuanced babble about, and basically all it sums up to is the same thing that you can hear from Roland Martin. Yeah, I know the Democrats made mistakes and they're bad and blah, 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 but the Republicans are worse, so we got to support the Democrats. You can hear that from any mainstream Democrat. You can hear that from any mainstream Democrat shill. You can hear that from any Angela Reed, any Roland Martin, any Simone Sanders. You don't need Yvette Carnell to tell you this. Back when while Yvette Carnell was voting for Bernie Sanders in 2016 and making articles attacking reparations in order to defend Bernie Sanders, people like me were saying we have to leverage our vote. No black agenda, no vote. And you know what people were saying to me then while Yvette Carnell was supporting Bernie Sanders? I know, but the lesser of two evils, and you got to support the Democrats because the Republicans are going to be so much worse, and you don't understand politics. It's the same thing. Almost word for word what Yvette Carnell is saying right now. Which is why I'm saying to y'all, fam, we cannot listen to this woman. The reason why I'm making this video is one final plea. Now, again, I promise this is going to be the last Democratic Down Ballot video I make up until right in election season. So once we get like in late October, November, I'll probably maybe make a few more videos because they're probably going to still be pushing the suicide down ballot strategy. But this will be the last video for a while. I have to make this point because it's one final plea to the people in the ADOS movement who know deep down inside their hearts that what Yvette Carnell is telling them isn't right. And I'm giving you one final chance to get away from that. And I'm not even doing it for you. I'm doing it for me. Because I know that I alone cannot change the political process. We need a critical mass. And these Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore coming in with their suicide down ballot strategy has seriously divided our critical mass. Yes, there are plenty of us who are still on the black agenda, no black agenda, no vote tip. But too many of us have been misled by the suicide down ballot strategy, because we have this cult of personality around people. We love to build cults of personality. So what I'm doing is I'm going to make one final logical case against the suicide down ballot movement, and then it's up to y'all at that point. If y'all keep following Yvette Carnell and Antonio Morris, nothing I can say, except black people get what they deserve as a race, because we have too many stupid Negroes. We have too many Negroes who aren't ADOS, who aren't in the ADOS movement, I mean, who still are black Americans but aren't in the ADOS movement, who just vote for Democrats blindly. Then we have A-dunce Negroes, and this is why I call them A-dunce, because of everything I've already said in this video, who talk about a black agenda and give all the right talking points around black politics, but then still steer you back into the same old, we got to vote for the Democrats because the Republicans are worse, which is what black people have been doing for 70 fucking years. And I know that's a little bit of exaggeration, but 50 fucking years, something like that. So as an overall race, whether they're just your average black person on the street who just votes for a Democrat because they think that's what they're supposed to do, or they're an A-dunce Negro who hears all the problems with our current way of doing politics and still goes and then still listens to advice to go right back to that same way of doing politics with a slight twist so you can feel better about it. So after this video, at this point, if black people still want to be foolish and support suicide down ballot strategies, it's nothing I can do except say that black people have what's coming to them as a race. But I can't keep attacking this down ballot strategy beyond this video, because I have to talk about other topics. I can't just make my video all about anti-down ballot, even though I halfway have made it that, because I've had to debunk so much bullshit that comes out of that movement. I can't make it all about suicide down ballot. So anyway, fam, y'all just heard that clip, and y'all heard Yvette Carnell babbling on using CNN, MSNBC talking points about how the Democrats tried to save us and the Republicans were doing better. So what I'm going to do now, fam, is I'm going to play several video clips from white media sources describing how the Democrats had failed us and how all they did was really kind of grandstand with the stimulus bill while really doing nothing to fight what the Republicans are doing. And they didn't do anything to change the Republican bill except add an extra $600 to unemployment. But the unemployment system is so backed up that most people haven't gotten theirs. And also, when the unemployment extension or expansion ends, it ends. So if you were delayed, which hundreds of thousands of people were delayed in their unemployment claims because the unemployment system is so inefficient. So the extra $600 for unemployment, it was a nothing burger because the unemployment system is overwhelmed and it's not equipped to handle the level of unemployment that's happening right now. So it was a nothing burger. If you had to wait 5 weeks to get your unemployment, guess what? You just miss out. Or your expanded unemployment with the extra $600, guess what? You just missed out. Because when the cutoff date hits in early June, it just hits. So if you had a 5-week processing delay, a 6-week processing delay, which a lot of people have had, guess what? You just lost out on 6 weeks of the extra $600. They're not going to keep paying it to you beyond the cutoff date. No matter when your payment finally came through, they're not extending it beyond the cutoff date. And Democrats went along with this because all they do is play the good cop. They stand up, scream and shout about how everything's unjust, and then they go along with the bill. So anyway, fam, I'm not going to talk too much longer. I'm just going to go ahead and start playing these video clips. I just wanted to go ahead and break down what the purpose of this video is. So let's go ahead and play these clips. First, I'm going to play another Yvette Carnell clip so you can hear her talk more suicide talk. The first clip is going to be another audio clip from the Byron Allen video of her talking more suicide down ballot talk. Then the other clips will be video clips from the independent news media. And then the last clip will be another clip from Yvette Carnell. And then I'm going to talk a little bit more, and then we'll close out the video. So let's go ahead. My bad, fam. So as a matter of fact, what we're going to do instead is we're just going to go ahead and play the independent media clips, because I already played the Yvette Carnell clip. So I'm just going to go ahead and play the independent media clips, and then I'll go back and play a little bit more of Yvette Carnell and comment at the end of the independent media clips. So anyway, let's go with the independent media clips.
This is Democracy Now! I'm Amy Goodman. We're broadcasting from the epicenter of the pandemic in the United States, from New York City, as we continue our look at the massive $2 trillion coronavirus relief package, the largest stimulus bill in U.S. history, with a guest who argues the country will be unrecognizable after this pandemic if big corporations walk away with trillions of dollars and no strings attached. Joining us via video stream is Matt Stoller, as so many guests are representing are self-isolating in their homes to protect the larger community and themselves. Matt Stoller, research director at the American Economic Liberties Project, author of the book Goliath, The 100-Year War Between Monopoly Power and Democracy. His column for The Guardian is headlined, "The Coronavirus Relief Bill Could Turn into a Corporate Coup If We Aren't Careful." So the House is clearly passing this unprecedented $2.2 trillion bill today. Matt, what are your concerns?
Well, I mean, it's not really a $2 trillion bill. It's more like a $6 to $10 trillion bill. So one of the reasons you can tell that the bill is packed with corporate goodies is that, Congress is debating and trying to figure out, is it $2 trillion, a bunch of money for hospitals or money for cities. And meanwhile, a couple days ago, Larry Kudlow is on a press conference and says, actually, this is a $6 trillion bill. It's like, how does a bill go from $2 trillion to $6 trillion without anyone really noticing? And the answer is there's a bunch of stuff in there. And, there are people on Wall Street chattering about how it's actually going to be 10 trillion because, what's another 4? And that's how you know that the bill is just packed with stuff for Wall Street, for large monopolists. And it's done through a variety of opaque slush funds, the Federal Reserve, the FDIC guarantees of bank debt. There's a whole bunch of stuff that, some of us who worked in the financial crisis noticed, paid attention to, said, oh, that's where they're stealing all the money. And so there's a bunch of stuff in there that's going to get to Boeing and airlines that we know about, has been reported. There's also a bunch of stuff that's going to get to the hedge fund guys that are bunkering down in their, in their underground wine caves or whatever. And meanwhile, the stuff that we need, for normal people, the ventilators, the unemployment, that's going to dribble out. Small business is going to dribble out. And so what you're going to see is the $4 to $6 to $8 trillion of basically no cost or low cost guaranteed credit is going to be used by Citibank, JP Morgan, and then any big monopolist or large company that can get access to it to buy up their competitors and buy up small business who are obviously now in a really distressed state because they don't have any revenue. So that's what's going to happen. And I look forward to all of the progressives who are supporting this, like Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, supporting a wealth tax later on for all the wealth that they are right now transferring to Wall Street. That'll be fun.
CNBC's Jim Cramer said last Friday the economic downturn from the pandemic could leave the United States with just 3 retailers after the crisis ends. This is what he said.
We come out of this sooner than other small businesses can open. If we come out of this later, David, there's going to be 3 retailers in this country. There's going to be Amazon, there's going to be Walmart, and there's going to be Costco. And that is something that the government cannot afford to have happen.
So, Matt Stoller, if you can respond to what Cramer said, while President Trump stands at the White House podium saying we're spending much more time concerned about small business than big business. He didn't say we're spending much more money concerned about small business than big business.
I don't think that this is actually, I don't want to leave this on Trump. Honestly, this is the fault of the Democrats. This is the fault of Nancy Pelosi. It's the fault of members like Ilhan Omar, who just spoke about this, not paying attention to what's in the bill. It's the fault of Bernie Sanders. It's the fault of Elizabeth Warren. These are the people that had leverage, that had the ability to make an argument about what this bill is. And instead of saying that this bill is a handout to corporate America and a roll-up of power, they decided to stay quiet, let Chuck Schumer organize the whole process, and and do some moral grandstanding. And it's really embarrassing, and it's really a problem, because they're lying to the progressive movement, they're lying to the Democratic Party, and so now we have no debate about what is effectively probably a more significant bill than TARP in 2008. And all of this stuff that's happening, the handover of power to Wall Street, is happening under the really cynical guise of helping people in a pandemic. A lot of this money is going to go some of the money is going to go to hospitals. Some of the money is going to go to help people in the pandemic. So there's some good stuff here. That, of course, is going to dribble out on the rickety infrastructure of the Small Business Administration and, unemployment insurance. Our government's been hollowed out, so this stuff isn't going to get out quickly enough. But I think we really have to take some responsibility as Democrats. I'm a Democrat, as progressives, as conservatives, as Republicans. This is a total system failure. This is a handover of power to Wall Street. And in a month or two or three, people are going to get confused. They're going to say, wait a second, why isn't this working? What's happening? And this is the moment. The moment was this week when the House and Senate are voting on it. And you have a whole bunch of largely clueless, either stupid, corrupt, or cowardly members who won't actually look at what's in the bill, won't organize, won't think about it, won't debate. And so they've handed over, I didn't think that Bernie Sanders was going to hand the country over to big business, but that is effectively what he did. I didn't think Elizabeth Warren was going to do that, but that is effectively what she did.
You're attributing a lot of power to them.
Absolutely. The leverage point here was about the public debate. Last week, when Mitch McConnell was coming up with a bill, and I wrote about this, but others wrote about it.
Not including the Democrats in this.
Well, yeah, but the Democrats didn't make an argument about what was in that bill. They said, oh, okay, trillions of dollars for Wall Street. Sure, we'll call that pandemic relief. Instead of saying that's trillions of dollars for Wall Street, what we need is immediate pandemic relief. Instead, they conceded to Mitch McConnell and Steve Mnuchin that giving $1 trillion, $2, $3, $4 trillion to Wall Street was pandemic relief. And that's just nonsense. And so and even today, they're not saying that what is in this bill. They don't even know that the bill is $6 trillion versus $2 trillion. I mean, the whole thing is just embarrassing and dishonest. Now, I could see them saying, yeah, it is a $6 trillion bill. I mean, I'll also say I have to, we have to get money out to hospitals. We have to get money out to small business. We have to get money out to ordinary people that are suffering right now. It's you have to do it, and it will happen. If the Democrats had gotten together and blocked this bill, then Mitch McConnell and Mnuchin and Kevin McCarthy and Trump would have had no choice but to accept any deal.
Let me play presidential candidate.
Right. Promotion out of the way. Yeah.
So tell us, we haven't had you on actually since this massive stimulus / corporate bailout bill passed. So just give us sort of your overall thoughts about it.
Well, I think there are specific and longer term problems with this bailout package. The specific issue is that there's basically no oversight, and there's obviously a Main Street portion of this bill which is different from the last 2008-2009 rescue, where almost none of it went to actual people. But the execution of it is going to be extremely complicated. They're doing it through the Small Business Association, which is totally overwhelmed and not equal to the task of administering that many loans. And so, I talked to the former bailout inspector who said you can expect tens of billions of loss to fraud just on that side of the bailout. But the larger problem is on the financial side, where we've just sort of accepted the idea that maintaining prices in the financial markets as an end in itself. And so we're throwing trillions of dollars at this with literally no oversight. And this is a repeat of 2008. And what people forget is in the intervening period, all this new money that the last bailout injected into the system has been devoured by stock buybacks by all these companies. So we're essentially just bailing out 12 years of profit hoarding by all these companies. That's why they don't have any money. Not only did they take it all, they borrowed more money to commit more of it to stock buybacks, and that's why they essentially need a bailout now.
Right, and Matt, this really could cause financial contagion in the system, and the fact that we haven't learned our lesson the second time around is troubling. Let's lay out the political and societal implications for that. You've covered this now for a long time. What were the societal impacts of the 2008 bailout, culminating in Occupy Wall Street? Now they've done it a second time around. In modern memory and in recent people's lifetimes, what is that going to do to the political moment?
Well, last time around again, last time around it was especially bad because we directly bailed out the people who are criminally responsible for causing the crash. So, we had all these people who took dangerously irresponsible bets in the mortgage markets on products they knew were going to explode, and that we bailed them all out. We just threw a whole bunch of money at them. We created all these Fed facilities that were designed to offlift all the bad investments that these companies made onto the Fed. And all that did is incentivize these companies to engage in similarly risky behavior. They just did it in a different market the next time. This time around, it was in commercial loans and corporate takeovers. It wasn't in mortgages so much, and that's what we're bailing out now. So it's going to be a sort of an endless cycle of this kind of activity.
What do you make of the way that Democrats approached all of this? Because you remember they made a big show of basically killing this bill twice because it had this massive corporate slush fund with no oversight. Chuck Schumer tells us, we fought hard and got this oversight, this inspector general. Then, of course, President Trump immediately upon signing is like, yeah, that's nice. Then he fires the inspector general. So obviously, and look, it was clear in the bill, it was always in his hands to be able to do that. So it was clear as day that the oversight was always toothless from the beginning. But what do you make of, Democrats? Do you think they got rolled? Do you think that they were actively sort of complicit? They were happy to have this corporate slush fund with no oversight. Is oversight even really the thing that we need? Or should we have been fighting on the grounds of whether this amount of money should go to a corporate bailout in the first place?
Well, if you remember the last bailout, there actually were significant numbers of both Republicans and Democrats who didn't vote for the TARP. And there was significant opposition both times they had to vote for the two big pieces of the bailout package. This time, this passed 96-0 in the Senate, and it was done on a voice vote in the House. So yes, they made a show of opposing it, but it was, in the end, they just really rolled over for everything. And all they did really was ask to tweak the ratios of how much money would go where. And there was really no sophisticated opposition to any of the bigger portions of the bill, which are all about propping up the financial markets. They created essentially a gigantic government-run hedge fund that is going to permanently be pumping liquidity into a whole range now of financial markets. They created a new one yesterday for high-yield corporate debt. I mean, essentially the government's going to be buying junk bonds now. This is it's insanity, And I talk to people in the business who are basically saying, we didn't even ask for this stuff, and they're giving it to us. And wow. I think the Democrats, again, it's a repeat of the last time where a lot of the members in Congress just don't understand what it is that they're doing. So that's part of the problem.
And Matt, we're seeing this reflected in the financial markets. My friend on the show, Matt Stoller, actually tracks this very well. It's like immediately after this happens, he goes and he looks at the listed funds of like private equity, mortgage debt, and it's like all of it starts to spike. He sees that, the markets reacted very favorably. We saw CNBC cheering on the Federal Reserve. I think it's very important to understand the implications of what you're saying, which is that there are huge debt pools and liquidity, cash available to big business, to the financial markets, while people cannot pay their rent. We know that, according to the Wall Street Journal, 1/3 of people were not able to make their rent in April. So that is only going to go up as 16.6 million unemployment claims have now been filed in 3 weeks. Lay that out for people, just that stark difference of who is getting money and who is not.
Well, if you want to apply for a loan in the quote-unquote Main Street portion of the bill, you have to go through a whole series of steps. There's all these obstacles. You got to go through the SBA. You got to go to your local bank. The bank has to go through an extremely complicated application process. There's all these different restrictions and conditions it's a kind of means testing that you have to go through to get the money. Meanwhile, on the financial side, even before the CARES Act was passed, the Fed was announcing, oh yeah, we're going to start buying $75 billion of mortgage-backed securities securities a day, or $50 billion in treasuries a day. And that was just an appetizer for the size of the other programs. I mean, they have a whole series of Fed facilities that are instantaneously going to go to propping up all these bad investments, and so you have BlackRock, which is the world's largest asset manager, now is in charge of administering, the very kinds of products that they trade in on a day-to-day basis. So all these companies are going to be rescued and propped up, in a split second. And forever, as opposed to the ordinary person who's going to have to wait in line for something that is just going to be a loan for most people. Right. I think that's what, So I think that's going to be the difference.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that you're pointing out here is this just isn't a matter of fairness, like, oh, it's unfair that they're getting more than this. This is a matter of fundamentally shifting the structure of the economy in a way that is very much a replay of 2008, where, those who were already big just got bigger. Those who were already rich just got richer, and everybody else got squeezed. Small businesses continued to go under. Small banks, community banks, continued to get gobbled up by the big guys. And we're sort of laying out the groundwork for another round of consolidation, which hands monopoly-type powers to these large corporations to occur once again.
Yeah, and the impact of the last bailouts was we took a system that was too big to fail, that was hyper concentrated. We made it more concentrated. The companies that did fail, we folded them into bigger companies to make them more systemically dangerous. We encouraged companies that made bad investments to continue making bad investments because we used the Fed basically as a garbage mechanism to pull all these bad investments off their books, to make them whole again, to make them allow them to continue doing bonuses. I mean, a lot of those companies were doing stock buybacks right up until the moment of the meltdown in September 2008, and continued doing them right after they got the bailouts. So they never stopped essentially looting their own companies, and they were never punished for it, which totally incentivized them to do it all over again. And that's exactly what happened. We saw record, multi-trillion dollar, in the last 2 or 3 years, we saw over $1 trillion a year go to stock buybacks. So all that money is disappearing from the economy, and we're just going to reliquidate it again, allow them to do it again, and this cycle is going to continue. Meanwhile, as you point out, on the other end, you see more and more stress on ordinary people who are having a harder and harder time getting their money, and it's an unfairness machine. It's an inequality machine.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for reporting on this.
So let's get to the stimulus. I want to talk about the stimulus bill. And here it is. So this was from when it passed the Senate. Politico did a article on it. Senate passes $484 billion coronavirus deal after weeks of deadlock. Schumer responded that the legislation is significantly better and broader than McConnell's bill by catering to businesses without access to large financial institutions and providing more health care money than Republicans initially sought. The legislation includes $321 billion for the depleted Paycheck Protection Program, of which $60 billion is set aside for underbanked businesses, a priority for Democrats. Because the first one they passed, none of the money got to small businesses or people who really need it. So the $5 trillion bill, that didn't really help anybody. That all went into the pockets of the oligarchs who were about to buy up the rest of the country at fire sale prices. Okay. The deal also includes $60 billion in loans and grants for economic disaster assistance, $75 billion for hospitals, and $25 billion for the coronavirus testing. Of that testing money, $11 billion will go to states, and some will also go to the federal government. When you look at the package that's going to be passed, it's almost exactly like the one we asked for 2 weeks ago. Who said that? House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer said that. So the bill that's passing is almost exactly like the one they asked for 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, you weren't at. So I'm going to tell you what's not in this bill. What's not in this bill is health care for people during the middle of a pandemic. What's not in there is direct cash payments to people while the government tells them that their businesses are closed. Okay? Those two things, not in the bill. Credit card relief, not in the bill. Rent relief, not in the bill. These are things that people want and need right now. Not in the bill. And you wrote this 2 weeks ago, and 2 weeks go by, and there's still none of that stuff in the bill? What are the Democrats? Let's just finish this. All right, so that's it. That's real. So here's what happened in the $484 bill. $310 billion for paychecks protection, $60 billion for small businesses, $75 for hospitals, $25 for corona testing. And Michael Grunwald says Democrats cave. Nothing for states or cities, nothing for election protection or the post office, no oversight still, no limits on fossil fuel bailouts, no food stamps. They got some testing. Somehow that's a GOP concession, but no contact tracing. So Republicans say, hey, here's exactly what we want. And Democrats go, can we add some stuff that you're not opposed to? Republicans go, sure, whatever. Democrats, we won. They didn't put anything in that bill that the Republicans were opposed to. What do you say to this bill, Danny Haiphong from the Black Agenda Report?
It's complete garbage. I mean, it's an insult in a lot of ways because, yeah, working people absolutely got nothing out of this bill. It was actually the media attention around it just prior to it passing was very quaint and silent and not really effectual because I think both political parties and the corporate media knew that it was going to have very little impact. I mean, $10-11 billion for testing nationwide what are we, 8 weeks into
right.
The pandemic spread in the United States, and now we find out likely a lot longer that we just didn't know about. So that pittance for testing, that pittance for hospital and healthcare, it just shows that the ruling class and both political parties have no interest in addressing the pandemic crisis in a serious way at all. That actually healthcare workers can go die, essential workers, quote unquote, they can die too. And we'll have that 100,000 number, I believe, in terms of deaths to the coronavirus because of actions just like this.
It's coming. You're right.
Yeah, just because there absolutely is no response. This is not a response. This is just keeping the status quo going in a time that demands a lot more.
And what do you say to the fact that Bernie voted for this?
It's just another vote in a long pattern of capitulation to the party elite and the capitalist class. This is a guy who claims to be a democratic socialist, who says alongside the squad that they are for a real socialist transformation here in the United States that meets the needs of working people. But when you vote for bills like this without so much of a protest, and not even telling your followers and those who support you that a lot more needs to be done now, and how are you going to help me do more to make sure that this vote just doesn't get through? That's never in the conversation.
Never.
It's always we have to go on to the next bill and on to the next bill. It's all just classic bourgeois politics here in the United States. The two-party system has the complete control over what goes on here politically, policy-wise, economically, and Bernie Sanders is showing that he actually doesn't have any power on his own, and he's not willing to use his mass base to ensure that his political positions and his fight back is effectual. I think that's what this really shows, that he doesn't think with that kind of foresight. He thinks more about falling back on the Democratic Party elite and this so-called partisan game that's being played, when in fact it's a one-party state and there's a bipartisan consensus on austerity and war in a time of a pandemic.
It's amazing that we're in a pandemic. This is now the fourth bill to address the pandemic. None of them have addressed the pandemic. Not one has addressed the effects on people from the pandemic. No, nothing for health care, right? Nothing for a UBI direct payment. The government tells you you can't go to work, and then they don't give you money. That is unbelievable. Yet they give $5 trillion to the guys who don't need the money so they can buy up all the properties and assets while they're suppressed and during a depression because the government just caused it by telling everybody that has to close down. It's amazing. The Democrats have a new nickname. It's called origami because everything they do involves folding. Am I right, Danny? Come on. The Democrats are what happens if people who fall for Craigslist scams are given positions of power.
All right, fam. So y'all just saw them clips. And y'all saw those media sources, if y'all listen, telling you how this stimulus bill was just a big corporate bailout while the people got crumbs. The Republicans already were pushing for the $1,200 payment that everyone got. The Republicans were okay with that. The Democrats did not have to fight them for that. Trump already wanted that. Now, yes, some of the congressional Republicans wanted no cash payments, but Trump was okay, and he was actually pushing for a cash payment. Not all Republicans agreed on the cash payment issue. Not all Democrats agreed on the cash payment issue. So for her to tell you that, oh, if we only had one party, you can't have one party. First of all, the reason we have two parties for a reason. To give the illusion of choice. Of course, America is not going to present one party to us because people would be in the streets when stuff goes wrong. They would quickly overthrow that party. That's a dictatorship. When you have one party, that's a dictatorship. So in order to maintain the illusion of choice, of course you don't have one party. That's first of all. But let's go with Yvette Carnell's example about if you had one party, if you had one party. We do have one party. The Democrat/Republican Party. That's why they all pretend to have disagreements on things, but at the end of the day, they all agree. The initial Republican proposal, the official on paper Republican bill, had the $1,200 in it. The only thing it did not have in it was the extra $600 for unemployment. They didn't say you couldn't get unemployment. So this lie about, they didn't secure wages. What they mean is they didn't secure the extra $600. That's the only thing that Democrats, quote unquote, fought for. Which was a nothing burger because as Yvette Carnell just told you, the unemployment is all backed up. As I just told you, the unemployment is all backed up. As a matter of fact, let's play Yvette Carnell's clip one more time. I'm going to play just a part of it, and then I'm going to continue to comment.
And the bailouts could remain secret for 6 months. Now I want to show that to everybody who said, let's just vote Republican, Yvette. Where's the little boomer Negro who came in last week? Well, Yvette, you just don't know how to do power. Do you know how to do immune system? Any of us can get sick at any time. You can't have this. People are out of work. The unemployment offices ain't even, they might as well be shut down. They ain't even taking calls in these places. Apply online. Go on, they're gonna run off. They can't even deal with the demand. Now see, some people who don't have an ear for nuance, like, well, see, I told you Yvette was came for Democrats. I'm telling you that you have to hold one party accountable. And in this moment, it's good that they were able to push back against something that would allow these companies to get a windfall of money and not secure your job and your wage. But see, the people who are telling you that doesn't matter are people who don't work jobs and wages anyway. You have to wonder about people. Like, I wouldn't tell you that. I just look at it. But there are a lot of people who are not me who will tell you that, and you look at what they do. Wait a minute, they don't worry about that. They ain't got no worries. But they're telling you. But no vote, no vote. You're not going to vote for nothing? Well, if you got money, no tangible, no vote. Well, if you got money, you know, and you got marble tables, it's easy to say that. But if you go to a job and you need politicians to behave in a certain manner, you need to hold them accountable, and you do that through a vote. Now, what you can do is what we say, Democratic down ballot, leaving that top blank. And some people say, I'm leaving the Senate blank too because my senator is blah, 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 blah. I'm leaving the Congress blank because my congressperson is blah, 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 blah. I get that. But to just not show up and not do, so you're not even going to vote for a state lawmaker or assembly person, or you're not going to vote for an initiative, you're not going to vote for nothing. That's abdicating the whole process. You're not going to show up for anything. Nah, you just lazy. Like, just tell me you just lazy. You don't want to read, you don't want to move. It's easy for you to talk loud and thump your chest. But this ain't the moment for that. This is not the time to be lazy. This is the time to be active and smart. And we're being led by a bunch of dullards. Dunces.
So, fam, y'all just heard that clip again. So I just played it just to reiterate what she's saying and how dangerous it is. So y'all just heard her say that at least the Democrats fought for something to get us a windfall, and to prevent the corporation from getting a windfall. No, they didn't. That's why I played those independent media clips, so y'all could see how these corporations got a slush fund, concierge service, while small businesses, true small businesses, because some of these Roof Chris places, they were able, because they have connects with the banks and stuff, they were able to get their money right away, even though they probably shouldn't even be qualifying for the small business loans. But as the independent media clip told you guys, the Democrats didn't stop the corporations from getting anything. The corporations got everything they wanted. The only thing the Democrats got was the extra $600 of unemployment, which, as Yvette Carnell herself has told you, it's all backed up and fucked up. And as I've told you, if you've missed out because of how backed up it is, so if you've missed out on 4 or 5 weeks, which over 50% of the people who are applying for unemployment have, you're just out of luck. You're not going to get that back paid to you. When the cutoff date hits in June, you're done. So it was a nothing burger. And even with the extra $600 on unemployment, it still doesn't add up to most people's wages. Because most people's unemployment is, regular unemployment is $600. So you add an extra $600 onto that. It's either $600 a week or $600 every 2 weeks. That still doesn't add up to, that barely adds up to $40,000, $50,000 a year. That still don't add up to a lot of people's salaries. And I said 40, 50, it's not even 50, it's 40,000 or less, depending on your state and how much money you were making. So even if you did get this extra $600, it's still not enough. It was a nothing burger, and they had to, of course, our government had to do something for the people to prevent an outright revolution. It's just a good cop, bad cop game. So for her to sit up and see that's her whole justification. See, the Democrats did something for you, and then remember this, fam. Let's say these policies that the Democrats did were good, which they weren't. They didn't help us. As I've already said, the Republicans were already proposing the $1,200 without the Democrats. The only thing the Democrats fought for was the extra $600. But let's say that was some saving grace, which it's not. It's still not a black agenda. It's still a lift all boats policy, which is the whole reason for the DOAS movement starting, is for black people to stop going for lift all boats policies. So how is any of this a justification to vote for Democrats? Even if we're not considering a black agenda, it's still a nothing burger, the stuff they did in the stimulus bill. It's still a nothing burger. So as Yvette Carnell said, you think the party that won't do something for working white class people gonna do something for you? Yeah, you know what that party is? The Democrats. They're the party that won't do something for working class white people, let alone black people. And yes, so do the Republicans are the same way. But she's not saying that. She's only telling you that the Republicans are bad and the Democrats are good. And again, as I've said before, you don't need to listen to Yvette Carnell to hear that the Democrats might make mistakes, but the Republicans are worse. You can go to any damn Democrat, any average black person who's supporting Joe Biden, they'll tell you the same dumb shit. Oh, I know Joe Biden's a rapist, and I know Joe Biden sponsored the crime bill, but Trump, he's just so bad. You don't need ADOS politics for that. That's what we've been doing for 40 fucking years. You don't need ADOS politics for that. Then she tries to tell you, oh, anybody who tell you they don't vote, they don't know nothing about job. I work a job. I've told y'all that before. I don't take any donations. And I'm not trying to shit on people who do. I have no problem with people who take donations. I donate to people who take donations. So I'm not shitting on people who take donations. But I don't. I don't make any money from YouTube, nor do I solicit donations. And when people have asked me to give them something in order to donate to me, I said, no, I don't want donations. Because I'm not in this to make money. And I don't want my motivations to be corrupted by financial motivations, which is why I won't take money. Period. Whether it's from YouTube or from donations. And that's my personal choice. But I'm just saying, since Yvette Carnell wants to talk about how people don't work jobs, I work a job. As a matter of fact, Yvette Carnell, do you work a job? Do you or Antonio work a job? I don't think you do. If I do, please correct. If you do, please correct me. But I don't think you work jobs. I think you guys live off YouTube donations and YouTube monetization. And other donations, not just YouTube donations, but however you get donations. You live off donations, period, and YouTube monetization. So how are you telling people like me, I know you're trying to take a shot at Tariq Nasheed, but I believe in Democratic Down Ballot, and you're trying to say people like me don't work a job? No, you don't work a job. Because she's trying to say, oh, you don't work a job, so that's why you don't care about the unemployment. No, the reason why I don't care about the unemployment is because it has no black agenda. Black people could already get unemployment. You acting like Democrats, for the first time ever, made it available to black people. All they did was give $600 extra to everybody who's been laid off. And most people are not getting that because the unemployment system is backed up. As you've said, Yvette Carnell. So look who is telling you to vote Democratic Down Ballot. People who don't work jobs. Otherwise, they would understand that it's a goddamn nothing burger that these damn Democrats so-called fought for. While they allow trillions of dollars to go to corporations with a bullshit oversight that Trump can dismiss at a moment's notice, which they knew. The moment the Democrats, the only other thing besides besides the $600 in unemployment was the Democrats so-called put in an oversight panel over the corporate slush fund. And guess what? The head of that oversight panel, the Inspector General, Trump fired that dude the next day. And the Democrats knew that he could do that. Trump fired the head of the oversight panel the day after. So there is no oversight. And he laughed at it. He publicly laughed at it and said he's not going to be having any oversight over this distribution from the Democrats. Look it up. So the entire thing, the so-called oversight of $4 trillion of the $4 trillion corporate slush fund was a nothing burger. The so-called $600 was a nothing burger. The $1,200, the Republicans already wanted that, and that was a nothing burger. So she wants to tell you, oh, the party who won't even fight for working class white people. What do you mean, the Democrats? That's the party that won't even fight for working class white people. Not just the Republicans. Yes, the Republicans too, but the Democrats also. And especially in the context of black people. But we vote for one party, like you said. You said we got to have leverage. And the way you have leverage is by making these people think that they might lose your vote. Not that you're going to vote for them no matter what because you know they're worse. How do you make this logic that you're going to vote for somebody and that's how you exercise power over them? No, you exercise power over them by making them think that if they don't do what you want, they may not get your vote. Which is why we say no black agenda, meaning we don't get what we want, which is a black agenda, then no vote. We didn't say no vote no matter what. You didn't say no vote no matter what. Yvette Carnell, when you mock us, you say no tangibles, no vote. There's an exchange implied in that statement. Nobody is saying just don't vote no matter what, even if they give us $20 trillion in reparations, don't vote. Nobody has said that, and you know we haven't. So what are you talking about? We have to use our vote as leverage. Yes, we have to use the threat of the potential that we may not vote for you like we thought that you thought that we're guaranteed to vote for you for 40 years, that may not happen anymore if you don't do what we want. So what is she talking about? Because she clearly mocked no tangibles, no vote. So what else could she be talking about? Oh, voting for these people and somehow that makes them listen to you. It's voting for them even when they haven't listened to you. Because she clearly has made it clear that she is not making any demands in exchange for her vote because the Republicans are worse. She's already made that clear. So fam, I'm going to play one last clip and then I'm going to comment one last time and then we'll go ahead and close out the video.
And so what I'm trying to say is, I want people to get it. I want people to catch up. But you can't lead everything. See, you were just here. You were just at this space right here. Sorry, y'all, I was trying to correct some internet stuff. But you were just at this space right here, right? So it's like, no, it's almost like you don't get held accountable for like the mistakes that you make. And so you were at that space, and we can go through all the different spaces, right? So you were at this space, and it was vote or die. And then later on, you were at a space where it was like, we don't care about Trump. We're just trying to get ourselves together. And now we're at an exchange, and probably because you've been watching our shows or here, so now it's about an exchange. Okay. But then even when you talked about it, when you had the conversation with Naomi Campbell, when you talked about it in the context of, well, we're not just going to give it away. What did he say? I'm trying to think about it because I can't share it. Somebody got me for Instagram for copyright not too long ago. You say it's not. You said well, we have to have an exchange and we're not just gonna do this because we're scared of Trump. And I'm thinking about withholding my vote. So you go from vote or die to withholding your vote. Okay, I get it. But what I'm saying is that it lacks nuance. See, that's what people don't understand about voting down ballot, Democratic down ballot. People say, well, you should support the Dems. But are you gonna go support Trump? I mean, are you going to not support the people who need to be supported? Right? Because even if you don't have, and I've explained this 1,000 times, but even if you don't have people on your ballot, just say you somewhere, no Democrat is worth anything. You still want to show up to the polls because there are initiatives and ballot initiatives and all sorts of other stuff that you need to be in there, and you need to be in there and vote. You don't want to say something that gives people the permission to opt out. See, only if you benefit from people opting out. See, if you are, and maybe you're there, I don't know, but if you're a Tariq Nasheed, you benefit from people opting out and not being political because you don't have enough knowledge for people to be political anyway. So if they opt out, it's better for you because you can say, I don't even deal with that no more. And y'all can all just talk about nothing because you're not going to invest in the articles and books to really understand the political process. So it's a smooth little opt-out for you, and they're not going to catch you in it. So it's a smooth. So if that's not what you were trying to do, Diddy, don't say like I'm going to withhold. No, I'm going to vote them down ballot. I'm going to pick out the ones I want, And the ones that I don't want, the ones that I decided I don't want to do, that's what I'm going to do. Right?
So, fam, that's the last clip. Y'all just heard her giving more suicide logic. And that was about P. Diddy. First thing I want to address is her saying, you were here and you went from vote or die to no vote. And that's fine for her to bring up P. Diddy's past, because it's good to point out, hey, this guy has not always been on this. He has not been consistent, basically, is what she's trying to say, which I do kind of have a problem with, because people can grow and change, but I also don't have a problem with it because you can show that, hey, this person used to be on the completely other side, and this may show that they're all over the place and that they don't have a trustworthy track record. But if we're going to look at track records, Yvette Carnell, let's look at your track record. Because you want to talk about, oh, P. Diddy was vote or die and now he's here. He was there, you was there, now you're here. You know, with her country ass annoying voice. You was there, now you're here. Well, Yvette Carnell, you was there with Bernie Sanders, shitting on reparations, and I know you deleted your article from Breaking Brown, but it's still on Internet Archives, because you know how suspect it makes you look. So, Yvette Carnell, when I was in 2016, when I was saying no black agenda, no vote, guess what you were doing? You were shitting on the idea of reparations in order to defend Bernie Sanders, who was also shitting on the idea of reparations. So if we're going to bring up P. Diddy's political past to show how he's inconsistent, let's also look at your political past, Yvette Carnell, and show how you are inconsistent. That's number one. Number two, you keep seeing this goddamn nuance talk. What nuance, Yvette? There is no nuance. This is a simple thing to understand. Black agenda or no vote, which is what you used to promote. Now it's all about nuance, and the people who support need to be supported. And you know one other thing too, fam? Y'all notice how she's not talking about black agenda anymore? She's talking about who you like and who you don't like. Nobody needs Yvette Carnell to tell people to vote for who they like and who they don't like. Guess what? You know why Trump supporters vote the way they vote? Because they're voting for who they like, which is Trump, and they're not voting for who they don't like, which is the Democrats. That's what Republican voters do. That's what the average black person who's never heard an ADOS video in their life does. They vote for Democrats because that's who they like, and they don't vote for Republicans because that's who they don't like. So you notice how she's made it all about your personal choice and not about the black agenda? Notice she's not saying, go down the ballot and see who has a black agenda and vote for them. She didn't say that. She's saying, go down the ballot, see who you like and see who you don't like. It's no more talk about holding people to a black agenda. That's gone. Everything she's saying, every clip y'all heard me play is all about who you like and who you don't like. And then she gives stories about how somebody will come to her and tell her there's one or two other politicians down ballot that they're not voting for, and she says she's okay with that. But you notice how she keeps giving an example of one or two, and then when she does acknowledge that somebody may have to vote or it does not want to vote for any Democrats all the way down the ballot, she makes it sound crazy. If you in somewhere where it's just nobody, she makes it sound like it's so ludicrous. It's so ludicrous to have a ballot where nobody has a black agenda, when we know, those of us who truly understand politics and who truly do politics and don't just use intellectual arrogance to talk down on people and call other people stupid and claim that they don't know politics because they don't agree with your suicide down ballot strategy. Those of us who do know politics and also know white supremacy understand that the Democrats are in lockstep from the national down to the local. That's why she can't point out any candidates who have a black agenda. And if Yvette Carnell was really all about staying engaged in the process because there's somebody out there for you to vote for, why isn't she running for office? So she can push an ADOS agenda and actually give you somebody to vote down ballot for, somebody that you can trust. Is it because she's lazy? Is that why she won't run for office? Instead of directing you to vote for a bunch of suicide down ballot Democrats, none of whom from the local up to the national have a black agenda? We just had the case with Ahmaud Arbery get killed. You tell me which local Democrat in Brunswick, Georgia, is pushing for a new policy that will punish race soldiers like the ones who killed Ahmaud Arbery. You tell me which ballot initiative is calling for a civilian review board to punish race soldiers who kill people like Ahmaud Arbery. You name me one local or national politician outside of this Tamara Shealy woman who is pushing for a black agenda. And I know you might come up with one or two other people across the nation, but the point is that the majority of black people are not going to have anyone to vote for if they're voting based on a black agenda. Now, if you're voting based on Democratic Down Ballot and assuming that Democrats are your friends, unless you've done research and specifically found out that one specific Democrat is not your friend, even though if you really do research, you'll find out that none of them are your friends. Now, if you're voting that way, yeah, you got something to vote for. If you're voting based on who you like and who you don't like, yes, you got somebody to vote for. But if you're voting based on a black agenda, 98% of black people have no one to vote for, from the president down to your local council, city councilman. No one. So instead of sitting up here pushing Democratic down ballot strategies, that's lazy. That's what's lazy. And now I see it. I see it now. Yvette Carnell keeps calling people lazy because she's projecting. She's the lazy one. She's intellectually lazy. She can't come up with any new, fresh ideas. All she can do is tell you to go back and do the same shit we've been doing. Vote on based on who you like and who you don't like. And don't tell me that's not what she said, because that's exactly what she said. Vote based on who you like and who you don't like. That takes no ingenuity. That's exactly what we were doing before. What would actually be doing work and what actually wouldn't be lazy is actually doing the work to build a political party that represents ADOS interests and that will put forth ADOS candidates from the ADOS party. That's not being lazy. But sitting up telling people to keep doing what we've been doing, that is what's being lazy. That's the laziness, not what we're pushing, which is no black agenda, no vote until the Democratic Party is broken and has to bend to our will, because that is the only thing, because you're not a donor. Black people don't have the money to control politicians with money. Maybe if we pooled our money, we might, but most likely we still wouldn't be able to compete. Because it would take 50 or 1,000 or 2,000 of us to put together $100,000. Whereas a political donor, one person can put together 500,000 or 2 million. One white person. So we really don't have the money to control a politician financially. So the only other thing we can do outside of building an entirely new political party is leverage our votes. And the only way you leverage your vote is by giving the threat that somebody may not get your vote if they do not commit to certain things before they get in office. All of this extra talk about voting for who you like and who you don't like, and you got to show up for the initiatives. Which initiative is going to help an Ahmaud Arbery? I'm waiting for that answer. Which initiative is out there right now that's going to be on a ballot anywhere in the nation? As a matter of fact, let's not say anywhere in the nation, since we're talking about Ahmaud Arbery, and since Yvette Carnell is telling you everybody to vote. Which ballot initiative in Georgia is coming up that's going to stop the next Ahmaud Arbery? Which one? Which politician has proposed a policy? Which ballot initiative is out there? Because she keeps telling me, even if you're not going to vote for nobody because you don't like nobody because it's all about personality, what about the initiative? What about the initiative? What about the initiative? What about the ballot initiative? Which ballot initiative has a black agenda on it? Which ballot initiative in Georgia is going to stop an Ahmaud Arbery? Or the next Ahmaud Arbery? Which one? She can't answer that for you. Because at this point, and that's why I said I'm making this as my last video, at this point it's become clear that Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore are either A, co-opted by the Democrats, or B, they're stupid. Either way, they should not be listened to. And this is my final plea to the A-dunce Negroes who deep down in their heart, you know something's wrong with what you're listening to. You know what she's saying doesn't make sense. She's dangerous to black society because she still does have a significant following. Now, her following has dropped since she had the fallout with the FBA movement. But she still has a pretty strong following. And she's just another detriment to black society. And either they are a sheepdog operation that's been co-opted by the Democrats that's meant to lead us back to the Democrats, or they're stupid. Either way, they cannot be trusted, and anyone who's listening to them is voting for the destruction and is listening to advice that will lead to their own destruction and the destruction of black society. Because that's why you even needed an ADOS movement in the first place, because black people kept on voting for Democrats up and down ballot, and our situation continued to get worse. And black majority cities all over the country, they're run by black mayors and black city councilmen, and the black community is in the worst condition of all those cities. And Atlanta has a black mayor and has had black mayor for years, yet black people are in the worst condition of any race in Atlanta. In any other majority black city in the nation, you can say the same exact thing for. And that's who's down ballot. Google what down ballot means. It means anybody but the president. In a presidential election, that's what down ballot means. So whether she's talking about your Senate person or your city councilman, none of them have a black agenda, and we can look at the evidence of black people voting down ballot for their mayor, voting down ballot for their city councilman, and they're still in the worst condition of any race in their city. So what is she talking about? You got to support the people who support who? It's just a good cop, bad cop game that black people are already falling for. You're not telling us anything new. You're giving us Roland Martin, Angela Rhee advice. You're not telling us anything innovative. You're not telling us anything that's going to solve the problem. You're not telling us to do anything other than what we've been doing. So anyway, fam, that's my plea to y'all. If y'all don't get it, I don't know what else to say. But that's another video. Like, share, subscribe, and peace. P.S. fam, so my bad. I said the video was closed, but there was one last thing I forgot, and I want to add it on. So I do want to read one paragraph from an article. Or like not one paragraph, but like 2 or 3 paragraphs from an article. I'm not going to read the whole article, but this is from a Dave Dayen. This is another independent media news source. He writes for the American Prospect. That's a good website to look at. 2 people whose articles I would recommend reading on that website is a Matt Stoller. He's also written about the Byron Allen case, by the way. But a Matt Stoller and Dave Dayen. And I'm reading an article from Dave Dayen. The article is titled Unsanitized Bailouts, a Tradition Like Any Other. And I'm not going to read the whole article. I'm just going to put the link in the description box so y'all can read it. But I do want to read like 2 paragraphs from it just to drive the point home. So what he says is, this is a robbery in progress, and it's not a bailout for the coronavirus. It's a bailout for 12 years of corporate irresponsibility that made these companies so fragile that a few weeks of disruption would destroy them. The short-termism and lack of capital reserves funneled record profits into a bathtub of cash for investors. That's who's being made whole, financiers and the small slice of the public that owns more than a trivial amount of stocks. In fact, they've already been made whole. Yesterday, Wall Street got the word that they'd be saved, and stocks and bonds went wild. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, is running these bailout programs for the feds and could explicitly profit if the Fed buys its funds, which it probably will. So basically what he's telling you here is that private hedge fund is managing the funds that are being distributed out to Wall Street, and it could profit off the fact that it's distributing these funds. It's an asset manager, so it's basically like a hedge fund. This is a rubber stamp on an unequal system that has brought terrible hardship to the majority of America. The people get a $1,200 means-tested payment and a little wage insurance for 4 months. Corporations get a transformative amount of play money to sustain their system and wipe out the competition. This is a consolidation of wealth. 40% of small businesses will not return after the virus. That shut down because of the virus will not recover, will not reopen their doors. And then it's going to allow these corporations who have been liquidated with cash to buy them up, which is further consolidating the wealth in the nation. And if things keep going this way, we're going to have 5 or 6 companies across the whole country. There will be no such thing as small businesses anymore. It's going to be Walmart, Target, and McDonald's. That's it. The only businesses in your home area. That's the direction we're going, and that's what he's talking about. Corporations get a transformative amount of play money to sustain their system and wipe out the competition. Last paragraph. Democrats will instead whine from the sidelines as money is pushed into the hands of corporate elites. That's the way they like it. No agency and ineffectual grandstanding. Grandstanding is posing, pretending like you oppose something, but you really don't. That's what he's talking about. It's basically just putting on a show. Democrats will instead whine from the sidelines as money is pushed into the hands of corporate elites. That's the way they like it. No agency and ineffectual grandstanding. Someday Larry Kudlow will write a book called Firefighting about how he saved the economy between board meetings of the 6 companies left in this country. And we'll wonder how things got so off track. Don't wonder. And again, if y'all want to read that whole article, that's Dave Dayen from the American Prospect. That article will be in the description box along with the links to the videos that I use. So if you can watch the whole video if you want to. But those are, again, just a couple of people I recommend listening to. Jimmy Dore on YouTube. And I recommend reading Matt Stoller and Dave Dayen on American's Prospect. And there are some other people that you can listen to, but I won't name them all because I don't want to make this video much longer than it is. So those are a couple of people that you can listen to. Just to know, and again, these people are not people to listen to for black agenda politics. So they don't promote a black agenda. But they are people to listen to just to know what's going on in politics in general and how it affects you in a general way, in a non-black agenda way, which is what Yvette Carnell claims is why you should vote, is because of all of the non-black agenda items that are going to affect you. These guys educate you on how those non-black agenda items that affect you, it's the same no matter whether you're getting it from a Republican or a Democrat. It's basically the same thing because they're all corporate sellouts. And the people I just named are people who you can get resources on understanding how that is the case and how Democrats or Republicans are basically the same even for white people, let alone black people. They're not quite as much the same for white people. Yes, they're a little bit different for white people. The two parties offer different things, but for the most part, they're both corporate controlled parties that are basically, there's no difference between them as far as white people are concerned, and there's damn sure no difference between them as far as black people are concerned. So anyway, that's another video, and this is the real end. Like, share, subscribe, and peace.